What's up, all you professional hippies? And this week we are calling all the hippies to the table. To help dine with me, I have my buddy in crime. I want to say brother from another mother, but I've stayed with his parents, so I can't say that because I was a guest in his home. Um, but no, sincerely, Tyler, thank you for joining. We get requested every year because we talk about it ad nauseum anyway, Burning Man, but like a little recap for folks to live vicariously through us this year. We weren't able to ride you guys that, so I'm doing one better. A man that does it better than me, Tyler Tarr. Thanks for coming on, man. We're excited
Happy to be
to
here.
break things down, get
Yeah.
some more stories or some high moments, some peaks, all that kind of good stuff. But um, let's start here. Why this year?
Why did I choose it?
Yeah,
Well, I think I listened to, the hype around it and all the myriad of friends that were pointing us in this direction. And, most of them would also say, it's got to like feel right. You'll like kind of know the calling. And we had lots of offers and lots of opportunity, but, I feel like it became one of those years for us from a scheduling standpoint and from finally being, we were invited to a lot of different camps leading up to it and also to camp solo. But this year, a good friend of mine, he's like, I run my own camp for 12 years. He's like, you should definitely come and you could DJ 3 times. And I kind of looked at like the list of responsibilities and essentially like interviewed the camp amongst the other ones that we had been invited to. And it really seemed to align with Hannah and I's, intentions and kind of vibe. So we're like, yeah, let's give it a try. And then the dates kind of worked out, and we figured that it was finally time. So I guess overall, it just felt right.
yeah. You didn't have to press it so much. I know it's like the circles that you have. It's kind of a natural byproduct of like
Yeah,
cool
there's
people like to go to Burning Man and
one way
bring.
I looked at it was like, I've been thinking about going to it for at least 5 years, and I've always thought, well, it's not going anywhere. And once I go, I'll probably go every year for the rest of my life. So for now, I'll just save a month of my life and however many $1,000, and and then I'll pick it up when it feels right. And it felt right, and we did it.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, because certain things have to align, and I meant to plug this in the intro because one of the things I do want to give you due flowers, like for what it's worth, Tyler and I go way back, but we also did an episode with you. I don't know, way back when, like 3 years ago, or
That
something
was one of
like
your
that.
first ones. It might have been longer than that ago. I think might have been like
Yeah, 3, 4 years. So anyway, if you want like kind of a snapshot of Tyler's resume, if you will, pedigree, however you want to dress it up, but like it's not like you're a guy that has nothing going on, right? And one of the things that we love about going to Burning Man is you never know who you're gonna run into or like what they do outside of that week or two. And so um, kind of start to creep into, I don't know, either the preamble leading up to it, because I know you like did a test run, like you got the RV, but like kind of start to tease out, like as it got closer, what was that experience like? Were your nerves ramping up? Were you like, hey, whatever, we'll figure it out? Or some of that?
um, it was it's a process of making that decision, finally looking at our calendars, and then when my girlfriend Anna and I decided to make the decision, that kind of settled a lot of those nerves that for a couple months before. But then it wasn't until a week or two out they like you're right, they definitely start to kind of build back up. But honestly, that was to me a big part. That was when Burning Man started. It was 3 or 4 weeks before the event, and one thing or many things that amongst the several things that I took away from this was it felt kind of like a fast track into the basics of so many different things. Like, you helped me so much, Colton, with my camper, but it's like, oh, I'm learning like propane lines and air conditioning stuff and about hitches and there's basic mechanics and building and dust remediation and all this different stuff that normally I wouldn't really care much about. So it was cool to get my camper a couple months beforehand and kind of take it on a test run and learn the little kinks and replace parts um, and learn about generators and you name it. And so it was kind of like that's when to me it felt like it was getting started because I was wanting to make sure that we were over prepared and throughout that process. it forced me to pick things up and learn it. Read instruction manuals. Use thank God for ChatGPT because it's almost like I feel like so glad I didn't like learn all this growing up. That like over time, gradually, I would like always ignored it. I just paid someone to do all this shit. But now I'm like, sweet, I can learn all this like right now. So the basics of wiring and stuff. It was pretty neat to basically force myself to learn something. Lots of things.
And so, yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, I agree. That honestly, I had a very similar experience when we committed. It was like, all right, like we're going nerve settle, and then you're hearing so much. Like I think you mentioned to me, you have quite a few friends that have gone years and years, right? Even the camp you joined, it's like pretty established. Um, and then so when you make that commitment, like little things pop up, kind of like leading up to it. It's like okay, like hey, we made the commitment, we got to see it through, and then shit breaks or whatever. You're like, okay, I got to figure out
Yeah.
like how to wire an RV or stuff
Yeah.
like that. So did everything go pretty smoothly with you guys getting there?
No, not really. Nothing really went smoothly at all, honestly, until I don't know about halfway through the event. But it was a journey of a drive. I forgot how many miles. It's something like I don't know, over 1,000 miles. So it was like 14 and a half hours of driving, and Hannah having to work for the majority of the time, so she wasn't the most exciting like co-pilot by any means. And she's also afraid to drive the camper. So I'm like learning the max capacity of my Tahoe and what it can pull, and I think we were pretty much at that with the 6,500 pound camper, and then 15 gallons. 50 gallons of water was what we filled it right before we went in, but I brought out another 15 gallons of drinking water and 25 gallons of gas and the generator and bikes and all that shit. And I'm just doing the math in my head and I'm like, we're right on this teeter totter. And then, of course, we're driving I-80, which gets pretty windy. And then, of course, I can only drive like 65 miles an hour. And every time a semi truck passes me, I'm getting swayed left and right. And so it was kind of sketch. I'm like, and
Right.
then I wouldn't, if I started like getting tired at all, I'm like, fuck it, I'm pulling over. So we were behind schedule getting there, but so a friend recommended me to a RV site in Fernley, Nevada, which is only about an hour and a half from the gate where the
Yeah.
line starts. And I booked a camping spot the night before we planned to get there to just like rest, shower, eat, fill up with gas and water, and dump whatever I might have had in the gray and black tanks, and start our journey that morning. So that was what we did, except we made it there quite late, so we didn't even really get to sleep there. We just kind of went there and filled our things up and paid the $60 or whichever. One cool thing about the ride there is we stopped in Wendover. We're like, oh, let's pop over and like play some blackjack, and we played in about 30 minutes of blackjack and made like $600. So
Nice.
that was pretty cool. That didn't even pay for gas though. I mean, I was getting an average of 8.8 miles per gallon to get out there. So I was refilling gas every like 2.5 hours,
Yeah.
and 60, $70 a tank. So I did the math, spent well over 1,000 in gas too. So
Giving
didn't
that
even,
Tahoe hell, huh?
yeah, yeah. And then like, learning how to drive it, strategically to like kind of gun it when you're going down hills to pick up speed. So you're like not riding the RPMs over 3,500. That's another thing that I learned. I can probably make a list of 15 things I learned the basics of while
Yeah.
taking this journey out there. So I'm grateful for the fast track to learning. It's going to make camping and driving with that thing, anywhere locally within a few hours, an absolute breeze.
Yeah.
We're going to know everything, volts and amps uh, and gas lines and all the shit,
You learn
propane line.
calculus on the way.
Pretty much, yeah. I think we had lots of time. So yeah, it's really grateful for that. And then yeah, so then getting in, no, it's not smooth. So we get in the line, and it said we're like, wow, it says only 2 hours to get in right now. We're kind of at the very end of the early pass. Our pass allowed us to come as early as a week early, but we were a day late, so we were basically coming in with only a few hours left of like the early pass people. So I think that's why the line was small, and we got about 90% through that line, and we could actually see the gate, at the very front where they're letting people in. It was probably 30 cars in our line in front of us. So at the most 30 to 45 minutes. And uh, we heard that this dust storm was coming, and I'm like, cool, it'll be our first dust storm. That'll be sweet, because they're supposedly they happen like every other day and stuff. So we're like, oh, we're ready for this. Turns out to be 3.5 hours long. I'm like, are they all this long? And like, we're still inside the Tahoe, but it would go from you can't see to you can't see at all to like orange to like brown to black, and then
Right.
everything's and that would happen in waves, for minutes and minutes at a time. Ended up taking over 3 hours before you could see anything, and then the dust settles, and none of the, like 2 out of 3 cars everywhere we looked, everybody's popping their hoods and stuff because all of our cars had stopped working. Because anybody who was dumb like me and like kept their car running during this 3 hour storm, it just sucked up everything into the filter. So then I'm FaceTiming my friend in Florida. I'm like, my car won't start, and he's like, pop the hood, get me on FaceTime. He's like, take that filter out, smack it on something, rinse it out. I'm like, sick. So now I'm a mechanic. And so it ended up taking an additional 6.5 hours to get in. So it was about an 8.5 hour line. And the last 6.5 hours, we were 30 cars from the front. And it was 3.5 hours of a dust storm, and then 3.5 hours of helping myself and other people get their cars and everything started. And to make matters worse, the dust was coming up in the Tahoe, which wasn't too bad. We're like, all right, we got some dust. When it finally settled, Hannah and I were like, all right, we're going to run to the camper, and you get in right behind me real fast and then close the door, and like, at least it'll be like super clean in there. We did that. We run in there, we close the door, and we look in, and we had like a 1/4 inch of dust on every single thing inside the camper. All of it, dude. We were writing our names on stuff, even inside the drawers, inside the bathtub, inside the our clothes, inside our blankets and pillows. Because when my slide is in, the bottom is wide open, dude. So it literally, dude, everything you told me about remediating dust, taping my fucking windows, there was no point. I'm like, at this point, we're doing dust angels inside the. I'm like, all right, fuck. And I look at her, I know she's gonna be pissed. I'm like, ah. So we really now we have no dust free space, period, whatsoever. And
This is minute zero. You haven't even made
yes, yeah,
it.
and then we pull in we finally get in, right? And at this point, now it's 3 o'clock in the morning instead of 9 p.m., which we expected to get in. And I'm expecting it to be like Burning Man, like no trace left behind, everything, da da da. Dude, it was like we were FEMA. We were straight up FEMA first responders. Like we're pulling in, and I'm like, "Where's the roads?" Like they're like, "You're not supposed to like stop and do bing ding the bell and do the angels." They're like, "No, no, no, go, 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 go! Everybody just go now." They're like, they didn't check our camper. They're like, "You're good, you're good. You got anybody else with you? No, you're good. Go." And we start driving, and there's just like tents fucking upside down in the road and stuff, and people stuff upside down, and people walking around like they don't know where their shit is, and everywhere as far as you look, it looked like a total hurricane relief fucking zone. So I'm like, oh my god. Well, I feel bad for showing up late to set up, but now I get to go help them rebuild this entire camp. Although I don't know what it ever actually looked like. Good. I never even got the picture. So we pull in 3 o'clock in the morning, and they're like, "Thank God you're here," and our whole camp had been just ripped to shreds. And then I'm like, "Was that normal?" They're like, "No, that was the worst dust storm that they've had in like 7 years." So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, good. I'm glad that that doesn't happen every day. And then so I ended up spending from 3 a.m. until about 4 or 5 p.m. rebuilding the camp with everybody, while Hannah spends that entire time for the most part just cleaning out our camper, just the camper alone, like just trying to get it to some sort of livable condition, or else we were just gonna like pop up a tent. But she got it back to like where it's just normal dusty,
Sure.
probably like the average day 4 of Burning Man is where she got it back to, and
Yeah.
then they ding the bell, and we're about to have our first meal. I'm like starving, and I'm just up and wired, and getting grumpy and all this kind of stuff. And then they're like, "Oh, dinner time," and we're about to like make our place, and then a fucking full out monsoon comes, and we get another, I don't know, 8-10 hours of rain, and then we're just cooped up in the camper, just sitting in this rainstorm. Like, why the fuck am I here? You don't have any idea how much easier it is to have fun for this much money, time, and energy. So I'm like, great. So I guess when the storm ends, then we can go out. Well, no, because then we stay the night. We just eat on the snacks that we have, and then the next morning, I'm finally ready to like do stuff. Can't go anywhere. It's mud. It's like this much mud. So like every step, no bikes, no vehicles. The line, the people that were like an hour behind me in line, or a few hours behind me in line, they were stuck for 23 hours, and everybody just couldn't go until the ground dried up. And so then I'm like missing this thing that for different events, and I thought I saw that were interesting. A couple sets I wanted to see. I'm like, well, there's got to be playing. I'm gonna go see Black Coffee, and I'm trying to walk. Everyone's like, dude, you can't. You're not gonna make it, you know. And I'm like, take 15 steps, and it's basically like quicksand. I'm like, you're right. Never mind. I'm coming back, you know. And then you can't kick the stuff off, and then we have to spend all this time basically getting mud off of everything. So I'm just blabbering, but yeah, that was my start. So 3 days of hell driving, and then 1 day of a dust storm, 1 day of a rainstorm, and another day and a half of mud. So at this point, it took about 6.5 days to have any ounce of any fun. Like if there's a pie chart right now, it's like we're at about 100% hell, and fucking no. And then it got to like 98.2, and then 75.25, and then it continued to get better and better.
So, what was that like? Did you have a breaking point? Because I feel like almost
Yeah, oh yeah,
every I've gone, it you just the
yeah, I cried.
nerves is raw. You're like,
Yeah, oh yeah. No, I mean, actually, me and everybody in my 50-person camp, and my girlfriend, and pretty much everyone I know at some point had some sort of meltdown. And like, that was such a beautiful thing because everyone's like, oh, don't worry, it's Joey's just having a meltdown. Like, we all need it. I'm surprised it took him this long. You know, and they're like, oh yeah, why are you melting that down? Like, hold that because we need to hold this up. You're good. You're good. You can cry. You can throw some shit. We'll pick it up. But like, we still need you for cooking noodles, right? You're like, all
your
right.
body to do
Everybody just accepts that you're gonna lose your shit. Yeah, so I got pissed. I freaking I broke something in my camper, and I was like sad about it. And um, man, it was not fun. It wasn't cool at all. But then once I got it out, it was like, all right, well, we're stuck here. You can't like say, oh, I'm going home. You know,
yeah,
there's no going home. We're stuck.
yeah.
So it was just it was a build of being, like around that 6.5 days. I think pretty much after my meltdown is when it all got better. And
Sort
it wasn't too bad. It's
of
just
in the corner right after Meltdown City.
yeah, I should have had it earlier. Maybe everything would have gotten better. But no, it's just shedding some tears and just like laying in the bed like I don't think I want to fucking do anything. I just want to sit right here, and just crying to
Yeah.
yourself about it. And then a couple hours later, a buddy shows up. What are you guys doing? The weather's great. I'm like, all right, fine. I guess I'll try again to have some fun. And then like it starts getting so awesome.
So tell me about that. Yeah, once you turn the corner there, so that's beautiful. Like that's the part that I don't know, sickly or not. Like I love sharing with our audience. It's like like you're saying, like you can't run from it. I mean, maybe on certain day, like you could just go home, but then you're like, why the fuck did I
No,
come?
yeah, you're not gonna go home. We actually did consider like, well, we want to just leave when all this gets better. Like, and then we're like, no, of course we're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
And so no, that is what made it so great because in that the low lows make the highs so much higher.
Mhm.
And then luckily all of that happened in the beginning. I would much rather have that than the opposite. I've heard of other years where the weather started getting shitty later in the week. This was the other way around, although, as it was happening, I probably wouldn't have wished it on myself that way. But looking back, it was the most beautiful thing because I don't remember the day. I guess it was like Thursday. And also, yeah, when I finally kind of snapped, is my buddy had an accident, my buddy Christian, and he on his bike, he ran into a art car, hit his face, and he got airlifted, and he's had 3 surgeries on his nose. He's totally fine now, but finally the weather's good. I started enjoying myself. I go to his camp because he's nearby, and I'm like, "Is Christian here? He's got a set tonight." They're like, "He got airlifted to the hospital. He's had 3 surgeries," and I'm like, "What the hell?" So that's when I kind of lost it too. But then I found out he's good, and then the weather got better. But yeah, so the turning point, I don't know. Yeah, it was like sun comes out, everything starts drying up, and the camps are finally like put together. I got a night or two of sleep in me. I started to accept that, we're there for like 8 nights. You don't need to do everything, So I was getting frustrated losing the first day, second day, and third day. Like, oh my God, like we came all the way here, weeks of preparation, this long, treacherous 3-day drive. I'm like, I'm trying to just force everything and cram it all in rather than just being like, look, there's 4, 5, 6 more days, like just chill. It's like most music festivals would just be like this weekend, most anything that even vacations, like a 4-night trip is still can be an incredible time and doesn't even get good till the second or third night. So some people kind of breathed that into me, and I started to just kind of accept that, had my little meltdown, and man, it was really, really special. So Yeah, I can't remember the exact moment, but really it was just as the weather came around and we finally kind of got into a groove of a good schedule rather than trying to force it. Because if you go out, what we learned is that if we went out for tried to go out for too much during the day, we would like really overheat and we would feel great, but by the time we got back, we'd be pretty exhausted and not have a lot of energy to do, the 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. stuff. And if you go too hard in that period, it's hard to make it all the way through the sunrise stuff.
Hmm.
So we started to look at it by day four. I'm like, let's just do it in three shifts. Let's just get up each day, you know, in the afternoon, like 2, 3 o'clock, and just find ourselves like 4 hours of daytime fun each day and do like wholesome shit. Go check out the art and go check out the camps and get our time at the temple, get some exercise in, do some activities, meet people, da da da. And we would do that between like 2 and 6. We would come back to our camp. We would chill. We would change. We would have dinner, and then we go rest in our campers for a while and like with our friends and just hang out at camp. And then around like 10, 11 o'clock, we'd see what everyone's doing, check out the schedule. We'd go out again until usually about 3. And then sometime, we'd party at a few places. That time I found was like really inspiring, but kind of like sensory overload because you got all these art cars kind of like competing for music and stuff and time. And we would check them all out and we'd kind of get wild, but we would stay like in the, um, what do you call it? What's the inner circle thing called?
With the
The inner
horseshoe?
loop. Whatever. I don't know, whatever. The inner loop is it has like mostly the night clubs essentially instead of like
Yeah.
art cars. They're like the pop in bars and clubs. So
Like
we would
right
do
on
a
the
lot.
inside of the clock,
Yeah,
like the horseshoe.
Esplanade, Esplanade.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah, yeah.
So we would go into Esplanade and like do the suburb parties and stuff. That 10, 11 p.m. to like 2, 3 a.m. And then we go instead of trying to push it every night through sunrise. It's like dude, let's just go back from 3 to 4:35. Go back, change if we want, put our feet up, theragun each other, see who shows back up to camp. Like, throw a wet rag on your face. Like, talk about what you just did, charge whatever you need to charge. And then where are we going to go for sunrise, which was always my favorite. But going out again for that rather than pushing it through that was huge for us. So then we started doing that for the last 4 nights, and it was just incredible. We're like, all right, for sunrise, we're going to go all the way to Trash Fence, Lee Bird just playing, da da da. And those were like some of the most magical sunrises of my life, really looking back, especially from like an event standpoint. Cruise all the way out there. You could barely see the sun. We're like, oh shit, it's coming. Like the sky's starting to light up. And then we just find our spot. This one looks good. Put our little jogos down that you showed us, right? Do whatever. Grab our friends, let people know where we are. And, just create a little home base. And then you're just watching this incredible music with the best vibes and the sun is coming up. And then if you're like, hungry, you'll just be like, I think I'm hungry. And then someone just comes to the crowd like tomahawk steak. You're like, yeah. And then some dude's like candy, you're like, I think I'd like some coffee. Someone just has coffee. Like, every time someone's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, I come back, they come back like with this craziest, stupidest shit. They're like, I was just on top of that art car. They let me press the button and the fire came out, and I'm like, sweet, that's where you were. It's like, well, I'm over here doing this and playing tetherball, right, with this guy naked, right? It's just like the wildest shit is going down, and like it's just the way that people all keep the party going without it just being everyone's there to just jam out to music. Either most big shows, it's like you're either dancing to the music or you're resting on the side and drinking and talking. Here, it's like, who knows? There's just like people doing pop up things and like coming through the crowd and doing all these sweet activations and giving away gifts and talking to each other. And you always had space. You never felt like you couldn't get. If you want to get the front, just walk to the front. Walk around
Isn't
the
that the
side.
best? You
It was
know?
awesome. You want to go in the art car? I don't know. Go up there, babe. I'll see you up there. Like I don't know. Just get. It's not like it was. There's no like oh. There's no. Nothing's roped off. There's no
Yeah.
art car that you're not allowed to just walk up on. If you can fit, then go ahead. And if you want to do anything, you can do anything, and you can kind of be anyone. And everyone's got no ego. So you could. There's just. I like that. There's no bottle service and VIP tables and a section for this or DJ booth passes or wristbands. It's just we're all just here and we're jamming until he feels like stopping. And most of the time, we didn't even know what artist we were watching. It didn't really matter, because you're watching incredible music. I'm shazamming things left and right, and it was great.
Was there like a spontaneous moment you look back on and you're like, there's like so many little moments that happen where, because sometimes it's easy like to look at the big stuff like that stage was incredible or that art car or whatever. But like you said, the tomahawk steak thing, like we ran across a guy just called the Meat Man. So like we're biking out there, and there's this giant flaming tree, and this dude cooking tomahawk steaks and thick cut bacon in the middle of
So,
nowhere.
that's the same guy, dude. I
Yeah.
think I met him. That actually happened. Yeah, I mean, oh, I couldn't even really narrow down to one. I know I had a friend that he is like works like private secret security for like an Uber billionaire who can't even tell me who his client is, and his client is at Burning Man, so he's got to be a Burning Man, and he has to just keep an eye on him, but he's really just there hanging out, and he would just pop by every day at random times to my camp and just drop off like a tub of like Michelin star burritos, all different, like 30 of them. He's like, "You want some billionaire scraps? Ah, here we go, gotta go." And he just cruises away. And I'm like, walking around the camp. I'm like, "You guys want some like ridiculous food?" They're like, "What the hell did you get this?" He'd be like, "You want 12 coconut waters, freezing cold? Perfect, here you go." And then he's like, "You guys, some of your guys in your camp look like they need some IVs. You guys want IVs?" I'm like, "Sure." Comes back with a medic and they do 6 IVs in my camper just because. It's just like, those are usually $200 each. You gave everybody a full Myers cocktail IV in my camper. It became like just a medic tent for a little while, just to like revive everybody on the day of the man burn. Because I'm like, no one's sleeping tonight, right? So keep it going. Yeah, people. The bubbles and base camp was pretty great. We would be headed back from our sunrise set, and we'd always pass by bubbles and base, and it's just like a 90s hip hop dance party, and they're just passing out bacon and pancakes and putting shooting shots of champagne into your mouth and popping out bass music and stuff, and you just kind of vibe out until it gets a little too hot, and then you work your way home. Stop by, play some basketball, go rollerblading, and throw some disc at a disc
Did you
golf
guys do
course.
the rollerblading?
Yeah, I didn't get on the rollerblades. I played basketball on the court, like right by it, but
Gotcha.
we saw people rollerblading. Um, pretty wild stuff, man. There's a lot of kinky shit. There's a lot of crazy stuff. There's a lot of kids that are like, these kids are gonna kill it, like these little burn kids. I'm like,
Kids always make me feel like I'm
they're
not
like
cool.
they're
You know?
so resourceful and smart. I'm like, they've been coming like their whole lives and shit.
But how about those sunrises?
Absolutely unbelievable. The only thing I could of my life that compares to sunrises like that are in in the jungle. But it's a really it's a close tie for first. They were very very special. And like I said, once you got out there in the deep playa and the art cars weren't so close together, and they were
Mhm.
like each kind of had finally found their spot for the night. A little earlier on, I found if you went into center and deep playa between that 10 p.m. to 3 a.m., it could be a little tough to not deal with a lot of sound bleed.
A
And
little
for
bit
me,
of
as
everything.
a little
It's
bit of everything, yeah. And so for me as a DJ, that becomes a little bit like I get a little annoyed with that little sensory overload. Like I could have a little bit of fun, but I'm not really vibing out to the set unless you cram yourself all the way to the front and center, which I'm tall, so I don't like to like block people's views, so I don't really do that. So I started to get into a groove where we would try to find parties in the suburbs during that time. We'd check
Mhm.
out Deep Playa, go pop by the man, but the suburb parties were off the chain because they were like literally fucking nightclubs. They were like Tulum nightclubs.
Mhm.
And you go in and they would just like it's just like a bar, but you don't have to pay for anything. And there's areas to sit, like unlike a normal club that you can lay down, you could chill, you could fucking have sex if you want. You could sit there and take a nap, or you could dance to the club, but you walk in and out of it like it's an established building. We went to like the Spankies, which is like a country western kind of kinky club and stuff. It was super fun. Um, and it was just wild. Like along the way, Hannah just we were going like 1 mile an hour and she kind of like tumbled off her bike. It wasn't bad at all, but she like fell really slowly and gracefully. And then she's like, "I'm like, you good?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm good, but I don't know, like my shoulder hurts a little bit." Like the next camp, these guys are like, "Hey, we saw that fall. Get on the table." And they like put her on a table and they all had like the buffers. And she had 3 people within 3 minutes of falling. She's got 3 people buffering her back. And then she gets carried away. We end up there for like 40 minutes just pampering her with everything they had. I'm like, "All right, you ready to go?" She's like, "No, just a little more on my foot." And I'm like, yo, all of our friends have already gone to the next spot. Like, you realize that this isn't what we came here for. She's like, "You're right. Okay, okay, we should go." She's like, "I was falling asleep there." I'm like, "I know." I was like, "All right, guys, you guys all having fun?" I'm like, I gotta take her now.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel better? Yeah. No, what? Why? I felt fine. I'm like, "You forgot you fell off the bike already." Pretty cool. I mean, just the level of and I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, what's your gift going to be?" Assuming it's going to be like, "Oh, here's my gift. What's your gift?" Like, no you're not walking around asking people what their gifts are. You don't have to give everyone a gift that you talk to and stuff. They just come naturally. You just see that someone needs your gift and you give it to them, and you're not like, what's yours? You're not. There's no sort of bartering. Everybody just helps, and it was. I would say restoration and a faith of humanity, like, is a strong saying. But man, I did have a faith in humanity. But if I didn't, this is how I would restore it.
Yeah,
But and I,
you're saying that's kind of like a takeaway for
that's one of my
you?
biggest takeaways. Yeah, I mean,
Really?
my biggest takeaway. I tell people, like, fun is probably like on the fifth or sixth of the things I got out of it. I mean, it was pretty fun. I had a lot of fun. I had very
Yeah.
fun moments, but it
Uh-huh.
wasn't like one of the first five things I would say that I got out of it. I've never worked that hard to have fun and had such a hard time having it. So that's what would made it. It made it. I don't. When someone's like, "How was Burning Man?" I'm like, "It was a blast." No, not really. I mean, if how was the weekend of the Burning Man? Like, the burn of the man was a blast. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights were very fun. They were off the chain. They were fucking incredible. But there's five other nights that didn't have a lot of that. So I
Mhm.
would say what I got most out of it was um, character building, problem solving, resilience, basic knowledge on everything from plumbing to electricity to generators to amps and watts and wiring and gas and mechanics of vehicles and building this giant structure and taking it all down and some good teamwork stuff. I got to use my own skills of, like, people management, problem solving, and leadership that I haven't used since back in my Cutco days, and just kind of talking people down from things and helping people that weren't the same style of each other and, like, pissing each other off, helping people kind of pull the best out of each of them. And we would have a big giant project, and then 3 minutes in, next thing you know, I'm delegating, like, everything, and I just because that's what I naturally did in my sales manager days and stuff. So I was able to, like, oh, you guys really got that, so you're gonna stack all these, and then you're gonna do it. And I ended up kind of like filling into my role. So restoration and faith in humanity, insane creative inspiration, like, that was probably up there. Um, so I guess I shouldn't say restoration for me, because I feel like I have a stronger faith in humanity than the majority of people that I know. But it certainly strengthened even mine. It super duper glued my faith in humanity, and I feel like for many people it's a restoration for sure. So I'd put that up there at the top, right next to creative inspiration. I left being like, holy shit, I'm gonna build an art car and I'm gonna do all this stuff, and I'm not coming back here without, like, a really something special, and building it from the ground up. So creative inspiration, and then the network, just building up my arsenal of already huge arsenal of contacts and friends that I know for different things in different cities. I was with a camp of about 50. I only knew about eight of them. I've got 42 brand new friends that live all over, mostly like San Diego, Portland, um, and Southern California, like LA and such, and a few from the East Coast. But now I can go to Portland right now, and I literally have 25 friends that I can, like, stay with. Oh, and a big group down in Vegas and stuff. I'm actually about to take a trip with a guy that I met just one night, an accountant guy. I'm about to fly him to my property in Tulum, and he's considering funding the rest of it. So he's like, I'm thinking about buying a resort in Mexico. I'm like, I have one. That's fucking cool. We're raising money. So we didn't talk business there at all. We just, exchanged numbers and stuff. But I've had two calls with him, and we're about to take a trip in 2 or 3 weeks, or a little longer, on the 24th of October, to go out there and show it to him. So, uh, yeah, the new friends, so new relationships, creative inspiration, and strengthening of faith in humanity. Those are probably my biggest three things. And then character building, problem solving, and, like, some resilience. And then, yeah, there's some pretty fun and kinky and crazy and wild things that are, like, it's pretty cool that you could pretty much only do that here. It makes it very, very special. And everybody is approachable, and everyone's there to help everyone, and it's like nothing else in the world. I see why it's not a music festival, it's not an art festival, it's a fucking city. I mean, you could literally do anything that you could do in a city. You can just go to the library for the day, or go play soccer, or, like, I mean, you could do wholesome shit, you could do crazy stuff, you could go skydiving, you can play sports, you can work out, you can just go read, you can meditate, and then you can enjoy music. You can stay up all night, you can sleep all day, you can do whatever you want.
That's
and then build
beautiful.
it all, and then they take it all down, you know? And
Yeah.
so I don't know if we're going to be guaranteed going every year. I told Hannah and I were like, we're still kind of letting the dust settle, pun intended, to see like our frequency of how we'd like to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's our oyster. There's a million ways to do this. You know, we could go back and self camp like you guys do. We could go back and we could join a couple other camps that we were invited to, or and try one of those out to get more inspiration. We can go back and take a bigger role in ours and influence it the way that we'd want to see it influenced. Because there were things that were like, well, if this is ours, we're going to keep coming back here. We'd love to see this, or that. And so I could take a bigger influence and be more of a leadership role of our camp. But I also feel it's kind of like, you know, we were like, it feels kind of like an ayahuasca trip. Like you kind of just feel your calling and you get what you need out of it, not what you want out of it, and not what you expect out of it. You're never given more than you can handle. You walk away bigger and stronger and better from it. And it's a profound lifetime experience, but it doesn't have to happen on the frequency of every year. So let's just decide in a few months on, you know, if we're going to do it every year or every other, or just whenever we feel calling to it, whenever we think it's what we need. We're not going to look at it and be like, oh, here's who's going, or here's the lineup or whatever. And that's why we'll go. We're going to go because we just feel like we want to do it that year.
That was the one question coming into this that I was actually going to avoid because I think that's like, especially this close to it, it's just an unfair question, right? There's so much to unpack to like still process and sit with and just like integrate
Yeah.
overall.
It's
Um,
not going anywhere, right? You know, it's not going
yeah.
anywhere. It's not like you're getting too old for it. You know, like I'm 38. I'm probably at about average age there, you know, so if I was talking about going to ultra, I'd be like, we're fucking getting old, dude. Like we gotta go, or else we're just gonna be those guys. So we need to either like own the event or not go. But Burning Man, you could just go as a burner. You know, I could go until I can't literally physically go anymore. Like I could
Yeah.
see myself going occasionally for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just that special, and it's the kind of thing that I'd bring a kid to, and I'd bring him if I was, I don't know, just anybody that's like really important to you that you think needs it. I'm like, there's like, I want to bring my sister there. She just needs to see how good the fucking world is. You know, anyone who kind of needs it. Um, it's something that you sit there and you think about all the people that you wish were there to see it. Is something that I experienced quite a bit. And man, it's gonna make partying so easy. Like going to the average festival, like all I gotta keep track of are my friends, my drugs, right? And like make sure I've eaten enough. Like, oh, I got like what these three stages, like what the hell? This
Yeah.
it's like, how about a 1,200 art cars, 35 friends, like an e-bike that has to have batteries and everything be lit up, and the bike itself has to be charged. Your backpack with like a change of clothes, a mask, and water in it, and goggles, right? And then you know, stuff just in case it gets cold. You want that, and just in case it gets hot, you got to take it off. You got to have your basket on this, and then has everyone gone to the bathroom because the next bathroom is not so far away. I'm like, you know, and then keeping track of where all my drugs are on my body and stuff, and like you know, being careful with doing them. Oh my gosh, like partying the way I party in other places, it's like going to be such a breeze. Like, oh, I don't have to have lights on my body. Like, oh shit, my battery died. I'm a little twinkle. It's like, none of that happens. So I'm excited. I'm excited to go try partying somewhere else and just being like, oh. And now I notice all of my burner friends why they're so good at it, why they're so good at normal partying. They're just like always got have their cool, calm, and collected. They're never like, I don't know where everybody is, you know, because that happens to me. I start tripping on acid or something, and I'm like, I can't do anything, you know. And now I feel like I'll be able to be like, yeah, I got that for you, bud. No problem, you know. Oh, hey, where's she at? She's over there. What time is it? I know what time it is, and we're leaving it this time.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be a much more responsible and like aware um, partier for
I love
sure.
what you said earlier too. It's kind of like a crash course in
Everything.
all things human, right? It's just one of those things where yeah, you're not given more than you can handle, but you are forced to grow if you want to participate, right? It brings you right up to the edge of your comfort zone, and it felt, at least in my experience, like consistently met with opportunities to grow, to like
Yeah.
meet something. And if I felt inferior, insecure, whatever, it's like the ply would provide someone or something that would give me the resource to find that
Exactly.
for myself.
And if you just ask one, and that first time it takes some time to like believe in that statement. You're like, yeah, cool, the playa provides. You know, like if I need toilet paper and I ask somebody, they'll give it to me. But it's not really that. It's like it really just magically appears sometimes exactly what you need, and then then you start to get to a point to where you're not really afraid to ask anymore. But I had the one guy because I was able to get my car running enough to get it to camp from that first storm. But then every time, the couple times I had to start it a couple days later just to like see, I'd start it and it would start up and die. And I'm like, I'm never going to be able to fucking get out of here, da da da. And I was saying it to someone else. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna have to go straight to a fucking mechanic shop. And the guy's like, hey man, I'm a mechanic. You need some help? I'm like, yeah. I mean, if you want. He's like, no, yeah. Let me see. I mean, he's like, my playa name's Tink. I like to tinker with shit. What you got? I'm like, what's your name? He's like, Tink. I'm like, okay, cool. And then he like pops my hood, climbs up in there. He's like fucking 4'11", like a little leprechaun, dude. Literally just heard me from the street and just pops over, spends an hour on my car, has it running fucking perfectly. He ended up being our neighbor. 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 nights later, comes back. He's all sad. He's walking up. He's like, "Oh man, all my friends left me. I lost my bike. Shit." He's like, "This is night of the burn. Supposed to be the best night." He's like, "I'm just gonna come home and call it." I'm like, "No, you're not, motherfucker. You're getting in this wagon, and I'm bringing you. We're gonna find that fucking bike." And he's like, "Really, man?" I put him in a wagon, bring him all the way back out to the middle of the thing. Guess what we find? His motherfucking bike, right? I'm like, "Yeah, there you go. There's your bike. We found his bike. We get it started." And then we follow him. We bring him all the way out there, and he finds his whole group of friends, and they're like, "Ah, Tink's here." And it was like we rescued this guy right when he needed, and we just happened to go back to camp because Hannah and I were like, everyone's like, "Why are you leaving?" And we're like, "It's 3 in the morning. We're gonna go back, just us. We don't care who comes, and we're just gonna like rest, reset, take an hour, come back out. We'll see you guys back out at wherever they wanted to go. Vintage Culture, I think." And I'm like, "I'll see you there, I promise." So left, came back, and ended up rescuing this guy.
Was
Didn't
that
get any time to relax though, in that little roundabout. We just kind of managed his emotions and helped him through his meltdown. Which I'm like, dude, we've already had this meltdown 3 days ago. You wait behind, fucking crying out. Get your shit together. I'm not gonna tell anybody you're crying, and you're gonna get in this little wagon, and he's like, "It's not gonna be able to pull me." I'm like, "It's gonna fucking be able to pull you, right? Thank God you're the smallest guy here, right? Get in the wagon, and we're going." And he just rides in this little wagon all the way out. Uh, it was great.
that's sad, man. Uh,
Tick, tick, ticker was shit.
no, man, I'm glad you came on. I want to respect your time. I know you got things to get to, but overall, like, that's so beautiful, man. I'm glad you
Glad
had
you made me go. Thanks for telling me to go.
us and the rest of the universe is basically screaming. It's like a tailor-made event for Tyler Tarr.
Yeah.
Um,
So you go next year or what?
we're for sure going, but like you said, I listened to that intuition, going multiple years in a row. I needed kind of that buffer. But after that, no, like I mean, I think it's the closest thing to an experience like ayahuasca outside of doing ayahuasca. It's like,
High highs, low lows.
yeah, it's like when you were kind of giving me that, like, I love the way you framed it. It's like fun was like fourth or fifth or sixth, whatever, on the totem pole. It's like trying to describe. I mean, I'm a man. I can't understand what giving birth feels like, but like for me, it's like I'm the baby coming through the canal. It's like I'm
Yeah.
met with so many like experiences, and every year, like, you can't stand in the same river twice. It's like every year it was something totally different.
Yeah.
It's so
And
yeah,
whatever you expect doesn't happen. It's like, oh, I mean, we expected perfect weather. We looked at the thing. It's like, oh, chance of precipitation, 2 to 3%. And the whole week. And it's like wind under 15 miles an hour the whole week. Temps like mid 90s at the highest, high 50s at the lowest the whole week.
when I saw those tent, so because we saw the dust storm stuff, and we're like, oh, whatever, and then we saw how gnarly it was. Like, everybody there sets up expecting the storms. So when it comes through and rips up all that shit,
It ripped
like,
everything. Yeah.
that's
It
the
was
expected.
60-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah,
It's hurricane winds.
yeah.
And we're in the line, like, that was wild.
Did you use an
Um,
e-bike, or what kind of bike did you guys do?
we got e-bikes. Yeah, we switched to e-bikes when we found out that it was going to be really soft playa this year, right? They're like, when on our way, we had rental bikes, and
Uh-huh.
then they're like, it's going to be a super duper soft playa. It's like this thick of sand. Well, ended up being a dust storm, so that was all gone, and then mud, and so it was fucking quicksand. And then after that, when that hardened, it was bumpy, rocky, bumpy. So it was anything but soft. It was hard as a rock.
Yeah.
So it was just everything was the opposite, you know. And then you think this thing's over and you're fine, and this is how this is going to go, and then you just get dick slapped by Mother Nature, you know. But I will say the dust is not bad at all. I mean, we're gonna miss this stuff, you know. It's like dry shampoo. No one sweats. It's not sand. It's not dirt. So anyone listening out there that's worried about that, yeah, you need to take precautions to like, prevent it as much as you can from getting into like where you're gonna sleep and stuff. But just get lay down on the ground and do an angel as soon as you come in, and just don't worry about it. It takes some time to clean it all out when you get back with vinegar and stuff, but uh, really, it's actually pretty nice. I mean, after those that big dust storm and then the rainstorm, we had probably two or three other times where it would pick up and we'd have to put our goggles on and kind of go like this, but we would just keep dancing and keep partying, and then it would stop and we'd stop and you're good. Like it's on your hands and stuff, and it just prevents you from sweating and from smelling, and it's not like it's stuck in your eyes or you can't really feel it in your mouth and your nose. And um,
Oh,
we left.
boogers though. Them
Yeah,
fly.
them boogers. But we left feeling healthy and stuff, and relatively good. So I mean, it was a long journey back, of course, but
Yeah.
and then that fireworks show and the burning of the actual man. I mean, we all just fucking cried it out because then there's all this significance into that night, and when you finally see that in front of you, and you're like, dude, it was all for this. And then the party that night is it's the best place to be in the world that night for sure. It's like you
Mhm.
couldn't be. You can't convince me this is not the coolest fucking place on planet Earth right now.
Yeah.
Maybe in some other planet that we don't know about, but not on our planet. There's nothing cooler going on than that
We
that
always say
night.
if we could advocate for a place to the aliens come first, like that would be kind of the best way to introduce humanity.
Like, "Ah, hope we're not so bad.
Yeah.
What do you need, bro? You guys look tired. Anything you need. You're an alien. It's fine. It's fine. We don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on and sharing with everybody your experience. And if anybody out there is considering going to Burning Man, I mean, it's not like Denver, don't move here, but go to Burning Man.
For sure. You definitely should. If you feel like you should go. And, your first year, it's never going to go as planned, but no matter what, you're going to leave saying you're glad you went, and you kind of take it from there. But there's definitely, if there's no reason not to if you're able to pull it off, in your regular life. I kind of setting the time aside, you can go on a budget, you could go and spend 1 million, and you're going to have probably just as much fun and challenge. So, no reason not to go. Get yourself out there, but
Yeah.
make sure it feels right.
We love how everything's decommercialized.
Yeah, that was
But
awesome.
it's not decommercialized, this podcast. So go check out our sponsors. We like making money off Burning Man. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, thanks for coming on, brother. And yeah, hey, we got more guests coming up, guys. So, do the things if you want us on your algorithm. Follow along. We love you. See you.
See ya. Thanks, bro.